What's up, everybody? It's Crypto
Welcome,
Tuesday
welcome.
here
Absolutely,
on Time
welcome.
Freedom Daily.
I tell you, welcome to Time Freedom Daily. This is your daily dose of knowledge and information for you to attain those goals that you're looking for. Little tidbits every single day, whether it's motivation, crypto, investing, whatever we can do to provide you experience from the things that we've done, mistakes we've made, uh, wins and victories we've had, and share that with you. That's what we're here to do today. So,
Yep.
Chris, tell them what's going on today.
And all the losses. Share our knowledge from all their losses as well.
Wins and losses, for sure.
Absolutely. Some of those losses are more valuable than the wins. So, yeah. So, we are, going to quickly go over some crypto knowledge today. So, even in, those of you that are watching that just want to really be an entrepreneur, not really sure about the whole crypto market, listen through it. Even if you pick some stuff up, it might start to, jive with you. You never know. That's kind of what happened with me. I was new to this thing and pretty skeptical, and gradually started to learn about it. And like most other things, the more you learn about something, it starts to make sense. And there's a reason why. Well, let's look at it today. The market cap is almost $2.2 trillion. That's a lot. 2.2 trillion. 24-hour volume alone is 110 billion with a B. And that's that's a lot. So this is not a fringe thing anymore. This isn't just for I remember when crypto started out, people thought it was like for the black market stuff and criminals, and that's not it anymore. This has gained mass adoption, and I think things are really going to change. That's actually, John, I don't know if you agree, but a lot of people are still talking about a possible down market or a bear market, as the investors call it, coming in, the early part of next year. And I don't know how much of a bear market we're going to see because of this mass adoption.
Yeah, it's definitely different than it was the first two cycles, and I'm going to go basically over what a cycle is in a little bit later. But you just have so much more interest, not in the retail side, the you and I side. It's the institution, the banks, the investment firms, the countries, and governments are just eating it up. I mean, we just had news today that Brazil is looking to adopt it, which is, the gross product of that country is so much larger than El Salvador, which was the first one to adopt it. So definitely bullish news. Again, bullish means upward trajectory where we're moving up. Positive news. Bearish means negative news or a downward trending market. So go ahead, Chris.
Absolutely, and like look at these numbers. Bitcoin is fighting its way just over 50. That is a big number. It's a big number mentally, which, believe it or not, those mental numbers do affect the markets a lot. A lot of people are sitting there saying, well, I'm going to sell if it gets to 50, or I'm going to buy if it gets to 50. And so those big even numbers, it's not just an imaginary line on the charts. Those are big numbers. So Bitcoin fighting its way over 50. Everything else is kind of trickling its way up. And we see that a lot in the markets where there's one big driver. Sometimes the money flows into that. And again, like John said, you're talking about institutions. You're talking about these whales, these big finance companies, big, and even banks. A lot of banks aren't going to tell you that they're investing in crypto, but they are. Companies like Tesla, companies like Apple, those big institutions, they can move the markets. Retail investors, we can move it a little bit. You can kind of see stuff like Dogecoin up another 11% today. So, certainly the people, the real guys like John and I, yeah, there's a little bit of market movement, but those big movements like we're seeing today are coming from those institutional investors. As far as the
I just want to add to Morgan Stanley just last week doubled their Bitcoin position by purchasing the Bitcoin Trust from Grayscale, which is the largest cryptocurrency asset manager out there. That that trust is actually traded on the stock market, which is allowing them exposure through buying that fund and not having to actually buy their own Bitcoin. So that's how they're getting exposure. And we're talking about doubling their exposure from a half a billion to now $1 billion or more just on that one bank alone, just so they can give their people that they're managing their money exposure to it. So huge news.
Absolutely. And, as far as the other markets go, everything's having a decent day, meaning it's not red, it's green. We are having a green day. John has his green light on over his shoulder. But the Dow is up 1%, 1.27%. The S&P is slightly up. The NASDAQ's up. Everything's kind of up except for gold, which...
Well, I'll go into that in a second.
Exactly. We're going to talk about that in a bit. But so those are the markets going on today. But we really wanted to talk about, kind of how John and I have looked at getting into the markets and to try and help give you guys an idea of, if you have $50 at the end of the week, if you have 100 at the end of the week, and you want to start tiptoeing in, where do you go? Where do you want to? Where would you go, John?
So right now, I just want to give you a basic overview for those. This may be repeat information you've heard 1,000 times, and for some of you, it may be the first time that you're introduced to this information. I want to give you kind of a brief history of Bitcoin and how cryptocurrencies were developed and why they were developed, and just really kind of go into what Bitcoin is, what it was supposed to be, what it's now evolved into, and the reason why the institutions, banks, and countries are so interested in this particular cryptocurrency, among others. And then lastly, I'm going to share a video with two very prevalent financial people in the markets. Anthony Pompliano, who's one of the biggest Bitcoin proponents out there, millions of subscribers all over the social media, very, very wealthy, invest in cryptocurrency projects. And then Raoul Paul, who is one of the biggest macro traders out there. He used to work for one of the major banking firms as a top trader for many, many decades until he's basically retired from it. And now he's very, very bullish pro cryptocurrency. He's going to share some of his knowledge. It's only a few minutes, but we just to kind of give you an idea of what are the experts saying and where do they think that this cryptocurrency market can go to. So basically, what is Bitcoin? Okay, Bitcoin was developed after the financial crisis of 2008, when the markets crashed, when all the banks were doing bad things. If you haven't seen the movie The Big Short, please watch this movie because it tells you what the banks did and why it all went to crap. It just went down because they were fudging the numbers of how all these bonds were working. They were giving credit to anyone to buy a house, no income verification, no job, nothing. You signed an application and it was bought by a bank a couple days later. So you got your house with nothing. And all of these, and they're all adjustable rate mortgages, so that when they reset and the balloon payment popped and their payment went up 100, 200%, nobody could afford their houses anymore. And the equity was gone because they already over borrowed to get the house in the first place. So that literally wiped out trillions upon trillions of dollars in the financial markets, retirement accounts gone, people losing their houses, millions of people lost their houses. So Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't even know who this person is. Could be a fictional, could be a group of people that just made this name up. I'm not even sure we're ever going to know. Maybe he's dead. We don't know if it's a real person or not. But whoever this Satoshi was, he created Bitcoin. Okay, it's a decentralized digital cash that eliminates the need for intermediaries like banks and governments, using instead a peer-to-peer computer network to confirm purchases directly between the users. So you don't got to call your banker. You don't have to deposit money in a bank. It is decentralized over the internet. And it was made as a peer-to-peer cash transfer network. Well, it didn't actually turn out to be the best way to transfer money. Although I can transfer to Chris, if he's in Germany, from the US, $100,000 immediately with very minimal fees, maybe $100. Whereas if you use Western Union, probably can't even transfer that much money. And if you used a bank, you'd have huge amounts of fees included in this. So we could do it basically instantaneously, very minimal fees, and very fast. So fiat money, which is what cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, that we're talking about right now, are looking to replace or be an option to, right? There are billions of people in the world that do not have bank accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to give you one example right now. El Salvador just launched their own government Bitcoin wallet, and over 50% of adults now have a crypto wallet that they can use for Bitcoin. And the government gave everybody $30 in Bitcoin. Amazing, right? There are only 10% of the country currently right now that have bank accounts. So wrap your head around that. Within a week to 2 weeks of launching, 50% of the adult population have these crypto wallets. It's amazing.
That, I just heard yesterday there was an article that most of these people are smart enough not to spend their crypto. They are saving it because they know.
Absolutely. So you can see my hat. I'm a husband. I'm a dad. I'm a Bitcoin. I am. And I'm a hodler. What does hodler mean? Hodler means the people that are holding on to their Bitcoin for dear life and not spending it. Why? Because we see where it can possibly go, and we know it could be life-changing. Okay, so right now, in totality, I think the last Bitcoin will be mined in, I think it's 2135 or something like that. But I want to talk briefly about cycles. What is a Bitcoin cycle? Every 4 years, here, given the rate of how they're mined, and they're mined with a computer program, computers that solve these problems, and they're rewarded with blocks of Bitcoin or portions of Bitcoin. There's a lot of miners out there. And that mining is what's called hash rate. It's what makes it decentralized. So there's thousands upon thousands of miners out there that all have to agree on the transaction with this computer program to allow these transfers to be made and bought and sold. And it's all kept on the blockchain. It's all there for you. You can't, they talk about, like Chris said, the black market use it, criminals use it. Every transaction is there. They're going to have to transfer it to some form of a centralized system to then get the money out. So if the FBI or whoever was investigating really wanted it that bad, they can go find that person. And it's there because so if it's cash, you can launder cash, right? You can give somebody cash and it's never traceable. Well, what would you rather use as a criminal? Cash. Right. So believe me, it's not just for criminals to have. They use it. Yes, I'm sure they have. But
it's funny though, because I still hear that all the time from the people that just haven't looked into this that much. They're like, no, it's for criminals. It's for paying for like. And I was like, no, it's not. Like bags of cash are for that.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about what the cycles are. So I mentioned there's 21 million Bitcoin that are in totally going to be mined, and that's ever. There's never going to be any more. There's also speculated that somewhere between 4 and 5 million Bitcoin are lost, that are either on a computer that was tossed out in the garbage because it was worthless, 10, 11 years ago. Who knows? But they're gone. And most likely they're never going to be found, because if you don't have the key, even if you see the Bitcoin on a computer, if you don't have the key, which is like 20 something digits in alphanumeric, and how many different possibilities could there be? You're not going to find it. And a lot of times you only have a certain amount of tries to use the key before you're locked out forever. So let's just say that they're gone. So let's just say there's 17 million coins that are ever going to be out there. Currently in the United States, there are 23 million millionaires. So there's not even enough for all the millionaires in the US alone to own one Bitcoin. And you've got banks and institutions and companies and all these big things that are buying huge amounts of Bitcoin. So they say that over the next 10 to 15 years, if you own a quarter of a Bitcoin, or it's actually, I think it's 0.23, almost a quarter of a Bitcoin, you will be financially free at that time in 10 to 15 or 15 to 20 years. And I believe that wholeheartedly as a truth. So going back to the cycles. So every 4 years, there's a certain amount during that 4-year period that can be mined on a daily basis. And every 4 years, it's been automatically programmed and there's nothing you can do to change this programming. Every 4 years, that amount goes down by half, which we call that the halving. So we are coming up in 2024 on the fourth halving, I believe. And the amount in 2024, I want to say it's May, somewhere around May, depending on the rate of mining. It's usually every 4 years, maybe slightly less. That amount's going to go down by less. So what does that create? A supply shock. There's not as many coming in on a daily basis as there was before. And there's more demand. As more countries, more banks, more institutions, more fund managers are putting their money into Bitcoin with a less amount of supply, what does that do to the price? We just go basic economics. Supply and demand. Supply goes down, demand is high, price goes up. That's what it goes. And that's why so many people are looking at Bitcoin as the future. And again, it was created as a peer-to-peer cash transfer. And there are some upgrades they can do to make things faster, transactions faster. They can't change the programming in a way to create more, but they can make the hash rate. They can make the hash rate higher and faster, so that the transactions go, even quicker. So, sorry, I'm trying to get something out of my screen. Okay, so that makes it more valuable, and it segues me into what Bitcoin has become. So Bitcoin has become a store of value, a safe way to get your money in, see nice returns, and it be more volatile than, say, gold. So the price of gold, the value of gold has gone down over the last year, and the price of Bitcoin has gone up dramatically. So we were just looking at a chart where today's October the 5th, we're at $50,000. I want to say back in October the 5th, if I remember correctly, we were trying to break $10,000. And we were right in that consolidation mode all the way across for months, from October, November. I think we broke it in November, December. It came back down, went back up, and then we started going up parabolically up to that $64,000 high that we're coming back to. So that just gives you an idea of what the potential is. And a lot of people get scared out when they open up their account the next day and they see a 30% drop. And there's a joke going around there: if you can't handle the 40% drops, you don't deserve the 2,000% gains. Or in this case, since the beginning, I want to say it's 900 million% gain. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah. If you invested $100 in Bitcoin back when it started, you would have like $100 million today. It's ridiculous what Bitcoin has done and what the future holds. So I want to share this brief clip as we wrap up here. And again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat box. We'll try to reply the best and fast we can. And we're going to go into more about how to invest. We went over some of the top platforms last week. So go back to our last stream. I want to say it was on Friday that we talked about some of our top ways of getting into it, very safe ways to get into it. We're also going to talk about what's called dollar cost averaging in the future. We're going to talk about other altcoins and what an altcoin is, and some other projects like Ethereum and some of the top projects and what everybody is doing right now. But basically, just for an investment standpoint, again, this is not financial advice. Many of the experts talk about, if you're looking to get into cryptocurrency, if you want to be safe, do 100% Bitcoin. You can't go wrong with that. If you're looking for a little more exposure, you want to diversify your fund, there's a 50-25-25 rule. So they say 50% in Bitcoin, 25% in Ethereum, and 25% into some other, let's call blue chip altcoins. And we'll go into some of those. Some of those are behind me. You got Polkadot over here. You got Cardano up there. You got XRP over here. Those are some of the ones we'll be talking about in the future. But I'm going to share this video here. Give me a second to pull up the screen.
Yeah, go ahead. It's also, we're going to go into a lot of that in the future, and looking at even, putting a couple dollars into these high risk things like Shiba. It's a coin with no usefulness, but it has so much. It's cute. It's about a dog. Elon Musk tweets about it, and in the last 2 days, it's up, I think, 140%. And so no, that's not good financial advice. I'm not in it because it's going to come down just as quickly in the next probably couple days. But you never know. And so having a little bit of your investment, and I'm talking like 2, 3, 4%, putting it into that is not a bad idea either. But we'll go into some of those coins that we see on the horizon in the future.
All right. So before I press play, I just want to let the guy on the left is Anthony Papagliano. The one on the right is Raul Paul. I kind of gave you a brief introduction. This guy is Anthony Papagliano is a huge Bitcoin bull. And I want to make a statement. I know Chris and I are pretty much on the same page on this one. What Raul Paul is going to be predicting is definitely extremely bullish, extremely, top end of the spectrum. But he knows a lot more than I do. Would I be super excited for what he's about to say to happen? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But for me, Chris, before we pull this up, what do you believe we're going to see as let's do a Bitcoin and Ethereum because this is what this video is about. Give us your prediction for end of this cycle for Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Well, so I kind of, I spend a lot of my days watching a lot of really smart people. And so I kind of draw a line through the middle of them, which, in life, I've always thought that's a good idea. If you can, if you can take the people that think it's going to be super high and the people that's going to be here, if you draw a line through the middle, you're going to be somewhere hopefully right. So,
sure.
My guess, I think most of the economists, and this is not financial advice, most of the economists are thinking a safe bet for Bitcoin is around 100 to 120 by December, by the end of this year.
Right. Is that what you think is going to be the market end, or you think the market might extend further?
Well, so the theory is that, once it again, 100's a very specific number. There have been people that have been holding coins for years, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and maybe have mentally said, if it gets to 100, I'm going to sell. So yeah, there's going to be a little bit of that. But at the same time, what some of these guys are talking about is the froth and the excitement. And, once Bitcoin hits 90, 95,000, it's going to be in the news. It's going to be everywhere. You won't be able to get away from it. As mass adopted as it is at this point, once it's at that point, that's all you're going to be hearing about. And all of a sudden there's going to be these people thinking, well, you know what, if it's going to 1 million, I might as well get in now. And so there's still going to be that push. And that's why they're now thinking it can very quickly go from 100 to 2 or from 100 to 3. Just because there's going to be that kind of frenzy. And that's where some of the other whales, some of the other institutions can hop on in there. But I think a safe bet is once it gets to, even 90, you start taking little bits of profit. And absolutely. I'm not saying, sell 80% out. Start selling 10% of what you got here and sell 10% at 80, sell another 10% at 90. Yep. Sell a little bit at 100. If it goes to 110, same thing, sell a little bit more. Start creating that bag where you can reinvest if it comes crashing back down, then you buy it back in. Right. And so that's kind of my plan for Bitcoin. Ethereum, I'm surprised even today, Ethereum, Bitcoin is having this big day over 50. Ethereum's still around $3,400. Which John and I know, Ethereum is a very smart coin. There's a lot going on there. Ethereum 2.0 is coming out, which is going to solve some of the problems, but it's a very smart coin. Has a lot more utilitarian aspects to it. NFTs, which I'm going to do a video on how to mint your own NFTs. I'm going to do that in the next day or two. NFTs are all built on Ethereum right now. Huge market. So that whole market is exploding and the coin isn't moving. So there's been quite a bit of talk even today. There's a whole lot of excitement with Bitcoin, not a whole lot of excitement with Ethereum and what's going on. So I think Ethereum is coiled up, kind of ready to go. Again, people were talking about at $10,000 Ethereum. I think it could go a lot higher than that, especially with all the excitement with NFTs and Ethereum 2.0 and some of the other information that we will go into. I think Ethereum could go to, 15 to 20K.
I think so as well. So yeah, I'm going to throw out some solid numbers. I think the bull run could go into January. I think we are going to have a sell off at 100K. I think we're going to have a little bit of a dip and correction as some of those automatic orders that you believe are out there, and I believe as well, are going to bring it down. And I think it's going to get bought up by the FOMO on the way back up. And I'm going to say 145,000 as a peak. But again, you're going to hear in this video some of these numbers, and it gives me goosebumps to even think that this is a possibility, because obviously this guy is a macro investor. He knows the markets. He knows what's going on out there. And he's working on a whole different level of intelligence than I am. And if he is correct, we're all going to be a happy bunch for sure. Awesome. So, all right, let me share this. On Ethereum, I think you're right on the money. I think somewhere between 12 and 15,000. All right, let me open this back up and push play. Where am I at here?
We can't hear any sound.
Let me push pause. And how do I put the sound on? Because I could hear it in my headphones.
When you hit share screen, did it say include sound or not? Maybe that was a possibility.
All right, let me try that again. Let's share. Oops. Share. It does not say.
Well, maybe we'll put the link in the comments.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And we can maybe you can share it over to our page so it's findable.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, so yeah, I'm looking at my volume. The volume is there. I don't even know what I just did. Technical difficulties.
Well, we'll share the video and we'll add it to we'll try and add that to our page so that you guys can see what we're talking about.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let me get out of here. I don't know what I did. I don't know if you've seen that big screen as well.
I am.
Okay. Let me close out of this. Go back and stop sharing.
We don't need to. Yeah, we don't need to share that. All righty. Well, you guys, if that helped, if you liked any of that, if you have any questions, of course, leave them in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. It helps other people see what we are doing.
Excellent, guys. So I did something on my screen. I can't see it, but I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll put that video link in the description. So please make sure you click on it and watch that video, because it's super exciting for the people that are in this crypto market with us.
Absolutely. And we will be back. See you guys tomorrow.
Have a good day.